Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, aka a prequel that no one wanted. Not only was this a movie that I don't think anybody really asked for, the way that the movie was done was also a way that I think most people wouldn't want or expect, especially based on the trailer.
Have you ever heard the expression, the customer is always right?
Chris Hemsworth was the only interesting character in the movie. Everyone else is super bland. Anya Taylor-Joy hardly talks, which is a complete waste because despite looking like a hammerhead shark, she can act. They try to do some world building, but it's all kind of just like, who cares? Like, we get that Mad Max is a post-apocalyptic desert world where they have big cars and guns. So even the stuff they put in this movie, I think was stuff that no one really cared about or asked for. And even as simple as the story was, there were still some things that just didn't really make any sense to me. It's a really simplistic movie, and the action scenes aren't that good. And the world building and plot I just found completely uninteresting. The characters uninteresting. And if you want to say this is the turn your brain off, eat popcorn, and just enjoy the action kind of movie, that's fine. But then cut 45 minutes off of it and put effort into the action scenes. Somehow they managed to make it drag out for 2.5 hours. If you take away the credits, probably more like 2 hours, 15 minutes. A movie this simple and kind of dull with middling action scenes almost feels like money laundering to me. I don't know what Hollywood's obsession is with treating movies like women, like they all need to have multiple climaxes. The worst example of this to me is The Batman, where you feel like the movie's over and there's another half hour where it just goes crazy. But the budget is $180 million for this movie. And with the way that the movie plays out, it feels like when Michael Scott in The Office is like, oh, we need to spend all of our money so we don't have a surplus.
So the dollar's a surplus. This is a surplus. We have to spend that $4,300 by the end of the day.
So they just put shit in to drag out the runtime and spend all the money. The hour with young Furiosa easily could have been 15, 20 minutes. The end of the movie has 2 climaxes. Probably should have been 1. So yeah, overall, I'd honestly just wait for the action scenes on YouTube and not even bother with the movie. So let's just get into it. The first half of the movie, Furiosa is not Anya Taylor-Joy. It's some girl who's probably about 10. And that was the first almost exactly hour of the movie. So you have about 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2 hours, 20 minutes, and an hour of it is her when she's 10 years old. It could have been condensed into about 15 minutes. That entire hour they used was to set up that Furiosa wants revenge on Dementis, played by Chris Hemsworth. It also sets up Dementis and Immortan Joe's rivalry between their living areas or gangs, whatever you want to call them. All we really get from this is a really slow, uninteresting chase scene.
Good job, Joe. Well done. Top notch.
I guess if you want to call it world building that they added other factions in, fine. You have like Gas Town, Bullet Town, and then the Citadel, which is where Immortan Joe is. Gas Town is where Dementis is. All of this is used for Dementis to negotiate a slightly better deal between him and Immortan Joe, and then he gives away Furiosa to be one of Immortan Joe's brides. She sneaks off, becomes kind of a grunt, and then we get a flash forward to her as Anya Taylor-Joy. She's still a grunt. She sneaks out when they have one of the new rigs. And this is the type of stuff they take up screen time with, is like them talking about the newer trucks and the bigger engines. No one gives a shit. So she helps the convoy. They get attacked by a group that splintered off from Dementis. She's like the only survivor along with the driver. He says that he'll teach her what she needs to know so she can escape the Citadel. They become kind of a couple, I guess, but it's not really explored at all. Then later on, Dementis tries to kill both of them. He doesn't even recognize Furiosa because it's been so long. He ends up killing the boyfriend guy, trying to attack the Citadel, and then eventually they have some 40-day war, which is just said in narration, and then we see the end of it where she kills Dementis. That's the whole movie.
Nothing's happening. It's over. A lot of people in the audience look pissed.
So yeah, nothing really complex, and you might think to yourself, how could that last 2 hours and 20 minutes? They must have had some awesome action scenes. Not really. There's one action scene in the middle of the movie which is really cool, really creative. They do these really long one-shots that are pretty impressive. And the other action scenes are just kind of like, meh. So the climax just feels like, okay then. The stuff that didn't make sense to me is like, she lived undercover when she was supposed to be a dude for many years. It doesn't say exactly how many. But she claims to be mute, so she doesn't talk. So her voice doesn't give her away, which is fine. But this is also like a apocalyptic shithole wasteland where I assume at some point she has to shower or at least change clothes. And I can't imagine they give a shit about privacy. Not sure how she got away with that for so long. And then when she goes onto the rig to help out. She just calls herself Praetorian Furiosa later on, and that's never really explained. The guy just says that he'll help her escape, and then she's just kind of doing her own thing. She's got her hair out and down. We never see Immortan Joe like address this fact that one of his future brides is now part of the convoy that protects the rig. The way that Chris Hemsworth dies at the end, I thought was super lame. He was pretty cool all movie, and then the end is just kind of him running until he's tired, and then she drags out this really long conversation with him just to shoot him. She doesn't really torture him or anything. She's just mad. So I thought that was a pretty flat climax.
Is it good for you?
I've had better.
I think it's a movie that's probably not going to do very well. It's one you can probably wait to see until it comes out on streaming in a month or whatever. I don't know how many of these prequel movies with a younger actor playing the same character as someone else we're going to get. I can't think of any that have done well. I'm sure somebody in the comments can call me a retard and name one. But my immediate thoughts are like this and Solo. Maybe we can throw X-Men in there as a good one. They casted really well for that. First Class at least was good. But yeah, I think this movie just came out way too late. I don't know if anyone wanted it. And it's a middling movie at best. I'll probably never watch it again. My guess is that there'll be a faction of people who say, oh, it was awesome and super exciting and the technical aspects and blah, blah, blah. And then never watch it again. They'll watch the action scenes on YouTube and forget everything else about the movie because it's just kind of a slog. I'm going to leave it there for this one. I don't want to keep going on. There's really not that much to say. I wouldn't recommend seeing it in theater.
It's a no for me, dog.
I thought it was simple and not really well executed. Definitely not in my list of rewatches anytime soon. So if you've seen it, let me know what you think. I try to respond to all the comments. If you're still here, like and subscribe and all that. Thanks. See ya.